In the next 5 minutes, I'm going to show you an utterly simple shooting system that will double or even triple your accuracy, up to the point where hitting coin-sized targets from 50 yards out will feel almost second nature. The system requires no special strength, speed, or coordination, and works regardless of age, body condition, or if your favorite weapon is a 9mm or an AR-15. And once you apply it to your training, you'll be ready to face any dangerous situation with the steel-eyed, calm confidence of a battle-hardened Green Beret. And if you don't have that much time for training, don't worry. With it, results come almost instantly. Because it's developed around your body's natural reflex movements, you'll actually be able to learn in a few short days what others took years to master. In fact, if you simply do what you'll discover in this short video and put it into action, you'll finally experience true peace of mind, trust, and security that come with knowing you can step up and protect your loved ones against home invaders, looters, psychopaths, or any other criminal scum. And know this, these techniques are so powerful and efficient that up until now they were only available for special operations troops such as the United States Green Berets, the Navy SEALs, or the Israeli Defense Force, to name a few. And it took someone from the inside of these special forces to actually make this available for regular people like you and me. That someone is Brian Morris. Brian is a weapons and sniper operations expert and a Green Beret with over 25 years of military and combat experience. Now, in case you don't know, the Green Berets are America's first line of defense around the world, and although their missions are often confused with those of the SEALs or the Army Rangers, the Green Berets are in a league of their own. Whether they're carrying out a quick strike on a terrorist outpost in a Middle Eastern ghost town or hunting down terrorist leaders, their presence is felt but never confirmed. And it takes a lot more than the ability to do hundreds of push-ups to be part of this elite force. To make it as a Green Beret, you need high intelligence, an outstanding record of prior military service, and a tough-as-nails attitude. It's perhaps why only about 20% of those who sign up for Green Beret training actually get to wear the uniform. And Brian is among one of them. And not only that, but his acts of courage and valor have earned him multiple decorations, such as the Bronze Star, the Army Commendation Medal, or the Joint Service Commendation Medal. Now, this is something he doesn't like to talk about, but I wanted to share the official paperwork with you so you realize Brian is the real deal. You see, I noticed a lot of people claiming to be experts in certain fields without any proof to back that up. I hope you can tell this is not the case. During the multiple combat tours Brian served across the globe, he stole a bit of shooting knowledge from everyone. It's how he uncovered new shooting styles and techniques even U.S. Army instructors don't have a clue about. Techniques like the both lamps open doctrine taught and used by Korean Special Forces. This procedure shows you how to channel your autopilot survival instincts and win a few life-saving seconds if caught off guard in a dangerous situation. Or the down and dirty target drill that can turn even the ultimate greenhorn into an elite shooter almost overnight. This technique alone is a fail-safe method for getting pinpoint accuracy and going from buckshot to bullseye on every shot and never wasting a bullet ever again. Or the technique he borrowed from the Israeli Defense Forces, the Instinct Combat Shooting Technique, or simply ICS. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Brian even went a step further and enhanced it. That the way he shows it will feel like it's actually being downloaded directly into your nerves and muscles in an incredibly short time. Let me get into a bit more detail about the Instinct Combat Shooting Technique. This procedure is the one the Israeli Army bases its advanced marksmanship training program on. And it's also the one that sets Israelis apart from all other special forces on the planet. The ICS method was developed in response to studies showing that when facing a critical situation, a person's nervous system is automatically engaged. Perhaps you remember how it was like during your school years, when, at an important exam, you suddenly discovered you only had minutes left and your hands would suddenly start shaking uncontrollably, making it almost impossible to put down another word. So why does this happen? To put it simply, it's how we're designed to react when facing a critical situation. Our bodies automatically switch to survival mode. Adrenaline starts pumping. Heart rate skyrockets to somewhere between 150 to 175 BPM. Once this happens, we lose control of our small movements of hands and fingers. We also experience loss of near and peripheral vision. And that's because when we go into survival mode, our brain bypasses every non-essential life function. And this is exactly when ICS is most effective. The guiding principle of this technique is to use the natural instincts inherited by every one of us. Think about it this way. If you suddenly turned around and saw a thrown rock coming your way, what would you do? You wouldn't just freeze on the spot and wait for it to hit you. You would try to dodge it, right? Your natural preservation instinct would kick in without you even thinking about it. ICS tries to accomplish the same. It turns the whole shooting process into a natural reflex. By stopping you from thinking about hitting the target and turning the whole shooting process into one instinctive move. Now you're probably thinking, yeah, so if these techniques you're talking about are so great, how come I've never heard anyone else talk about them? Look, I want to make myself clear here. Techniques such as the ICS were not designed for getting bragging rights over your pals at the range, for trophy shooting, or getting a gold medal at the Olympics. No, the purpose of these techniques is to keep you alive in dangerous situations. And yet they're unlike anything you'll hear from a regular NRA instructor, which is kind of stupid if you ask me. I mean, what is the purpose of owning a gun if not to defend yourself and those you care about most from all the criminal scum out there? Yet most instructors seem to completely ignore this aspect. Let me give you just one example of how they do this. For instance, if you've ever trained with one, you know he tells you to focus on the front sight post, or to align the front and rear side aperture and focus on the sight. And sure, this works like treats at the range, but in a real-life scenario, the time it takes to focus on the sight could make the difference between life and death. Not to mention the fact that because of all the adrenaline that would flood your body in a real-life crunch-time scenario, your eyes will actually lose their ability to focus. So here's a quick tip for you. Next time you shoot a gun, instead of focusing on your sight, try and focus 100% on your target, and then on the smallest point possible on the target. Look, I hate to bring it to you, but the truth is the level of training provided by regular shooting instructors is nowhere near what it should be. Nowadays, most of them have gotten their license by completing an undeveloped 2-day course. No wonder the number of so-called certified coaches has skyrocketed recently. These facts alone should make you wonder, what is the quality of an instructor's training? Where did he receive their certification or knowledge to instruct? Is he experienced enough to know that what might work for one person will not work for another? And perhaps the most important question you need to ask yourself, is this the type of person I want to put in charge of showing me the skills that should save my life? Given the dangerous times we live in, when terrorist attacks, random shootings, violence and brutality have become part of our everyday lives, can you afford to put you and your family's safety and well-being in the hands of someone whose only experience is shooting paper targets? Up until now, you weren't left with much of a choice, and the bad guys took advantage of it. Think about it. Isn't it weird that Americans are not feeling safe inside their own house despite admitting to owning at least one gun? Criminal activity is at an all-time peak. Home invaders, looters, psychopaths, thugs are roaming the streets freely. Victim numbers are piling up, and no one seems to do anything about this. Luckily, to one particular Green Beret, this suddenly became unacceptable. Brian couldn't tolerate it anymore. He understood this tsunami of violence that has hit America had no end in sight unless he took action, and he felt it would be irresponsible of him not to share his immense knowledge and experience with those who needed it most, his fellow patriots. He knew that armed with the proper skills, every law-abiding citizen could one day rise as a life savior for him and those around him. And here's what this means for you. Because you've stayed up to this point in the video, you have proven that you care not only about yourself and your loved ones, but about the safety of your neighborhood, that of your city, and of America as a whole. This is why Brian wants to give you the opportunity to see his shooting system in action. in a complete, uncensored form that very few will hear about. He wants to give you access into the world of elite life-saving shooting techniques, so you can experience what true confidence, peace of mind, safety, and security feel like. And all this without risking a penny of your own money. If that sounds like a fair proposal, then all his secrets can be yours as soon as you want them. Here's how. Not a long time ago, Brian went into full monk mode for a couple of weeks. During this time, he submitted himself to some grueling hours of work sessions with a world-class team of gun nut journalists, editors, and producers he handpicked himself, where he revealed all of his closely held secrets about his new shooting system. Now, as I said, the members of the team Brian assembled were no rookies. They'd been in the field for decades, and they looked like they'd seen and heard all. But they were totally unprepared for the skills and stories Brian had to show them. And soon, they just couldn't get enough. And even though most of them were very skilled shooters, two of them were actually fellow ex-military like Brian himself. When they saw what Brian's system could do, they all agreed. This was the utterly simple shooting system that would make anyone face any situation with the steel-eyed, calm confidence of a seasoned shooter. What they saw, and what you'll see too, is a system that focuses around your body's unconscious movements, which allows you to learn every new skill without any sensible effort. This way, you'll effectively rip through your learning curve and soak up seemingly overnight the skills others needed years to master. The system, which Brian named Spec Ops Shooting, a Green Beret's Guide to Shooting Mastery, is, as you're about to see, a simple step-by-step shooting course that can help improve anyone's shooting skills and put them on a fast track to becoming a master marksman with minimum fuss. But let's take a closer look at what you'll find inside. First, Brian will show you how to use the Israeli Army signature marksmanship technique, the one method that puts Israeli Special Forces among the best in the world, so you can hit a coin from 50 yards out with ease. Plus, he'll even show you a quick hack you can apply to your training so you'll actually feel like this skill is actually being downloaded directly into your nerves and muscles in an incredibly short time. Right after that, you'll discover one of the closest guarded secrets of expert snipers that will give you laser-like accuracy. This technique is so easy to master that you'll feel like you've secretly known it all along but have failed to take advantage of so far. Next, you'll find a horrible yet life-saving rule of thumb to follow if you want to keep a clear head and avoid entering panic mode when facing a dangerous situation. It's one of the key breakthroughs Brian had during his combat tour in Bosnia and one of the reasons why he survived so many close call scenarios. Furthermore, you'll discover how to keep flawless accuracy even while in motion. The secret to achieving this is actually a simple training drill that most instructors consider entirely useless and a complete waste of time. Then you'll unearth a hyper-advanced aspect of gun training even Army instructors fail to teach. This will give you the ability to sway any situation in your favor, and by learning it, you will feel infinitely more relaxed and confident in your ability to make quick, on-the-spot decisions so you can respond better to high-stress situations. Plus, you'll discover how to handle a worst-case scenario, an active shooter situation. Your own personal Green Beret instructor will reveal how to crush the disadvantage of being caught a second or two behind the criminal by using your body's reflex movements, and how to conduct yourself in case you're forced to engage the shooter so you avoid being mistaken for him by the police. Next, you'll get a down-and-dirty target drill that can turn even the ultimate greenhorn into an elite shooter almost overnight. This alone is a fail-safe method for getting pinpoint accuracy. Use it and you'll go from buckshot to bullseye on every shot and never waste a bullet ever again. Additionally, if you've ever focused on an object and saw a blurred extra image a couple of inches to the side of the clear one, Brian will reveal how snipers who can hit a target from over 1 mile away exploit this glitch to harness unbelievably devastating accuracy. And right after that, you'll get to know how you can expand your 5 senses so you see everything happening around you. This trick can virtually grant you almost superhuman-like ability to predict what will happen next and prepare for it accordingly. Plus, you'll get leverage secrets known only by Brian Morris himself that can instantly make your groups go from this to this. And even more, you'll find out about the Korean both lamps open doctrine. This ridiculously simple gun technique that can stop an attacker dead in his tracks and thwart a potential mass casualty situation in the blink of an eye. And there's so much more to be found inside the Spec Ops Shooting system, including details sensitive enough that I just can't risk listing here. Plus, every shooting technique Brian introduces is followed by a detailed training plan to target the development of that specific skill right away. He'll show you shooting stances, grips, two-hand, one-hand, offhand, explanation of firing techniques, how to identify your dominant eye, flat-range stationary single-target shooting drills, flat-range moving multiple targets shooting drills, multi-silhouette target in-depth double tap. Absolutely nothing has been left out. You can either choose to develop each skill one at a time